Well, good sunny day. My name is Nathan Vidette. We're at the Cottage Farmstead, and today we're going to be talking about flies, in particular flies that affect our livestock, such as our cows right here. We're starting to get into mid to late May, and that tends to be when they start to become more prevalent and a more nuisance to the cows themselves. So what we try to do, especially since we don't use any insecticides, is find natural means to continue to break that cycle as much as possible. One of the things we have control over is the salt block, or the mineral block, which we give our cows. The salt lick is very important for them, for their trace minerals in particular. But we have found that getting the ones that have garlic in it has greatly helped just to make flies not want them as much. Similar things work for humans, for instance. If you're going into countries that have malaria, you can actually take garlic pills, of which will help deter the mosquitoes from biting you. It's not 100% successful, as you can still see. There are still flies on the cows, but it definitely deters some of them, which every little thing we can do to aid in the process is definitely one step closer to success. One fascinating thing we did notice, we just recently acquired a boll, which we will be bringing to freezer camp later this winter. But since the flies were also on the property of which it came from, we have noticed a massive difference of the fly population that is actually on the back of the cow. So the ones that were R2, which were on the garlic block, they still have flies, but far fewer, whereas the new boll is covered. And it's interesting just to see that. That's the only thing we can think of that is different from the two, especially since the other farmer is grass-fed, grass-finished, similar to our approach here as well. One of our offensive countermeasures is called a pop trap. These things work great. They come with one bait already, but the trap itself is reusable. We like to hang them in the shade, as that is frequently where the cows will go when they rest, and thus that's where the flies end up following. Then when the cows are brushing up against the tree or whatnot, it gets the flies off their back, and if they smell us, well, as you can see, the flies are just coming in like crazy. They are attracted to the yeast and well, actually, let's see if their ingredients are on here. Sucrose, egg solids, yeast, and as well as water. So it's interesting just to see how it ferments and really attracts them to at least have some form of aggressive stance towards trying to attract them into here to be trapped and then disposed of, which is our number 3 way of trying to prevent the flies from attacking the cows. So once this pop trap has done what it needs to do with the bait in here, it'll literally be full of flies, and it is a solid mass. Rather than just throw it away, what we end up doing is putting it into a thank you bag, into a 5-gallon bucket, have it cracked a little bit, and that off-gassing of the decomposing of the yeast as well as the flies attracts more flies. So we put a sticky paper, as you can see here, around the bucket, which then as the flies come in, they land on that. The more flies they see, the more flies come in, and thus it just continues to perpetuate and continue to attract and trap these flies. So this has definitely been successful. It almost eradicated our whole fly population last season when they were starting to get bad, and we're hoping that now that we're getting into the fly season, it will likewise be successful for us once again. The last thing we do is a spray that goes on the cows themselves. This is not an insecticide, but rather more of a deterrent that is based off of geranium oil, clove oil, citronella, rosemary, lemongrass, and cedarwood. These are all been shown clinically to deter flies. And we have noticed when we spray it on the back of the cows, the flies lift off and it does give them some relief. It is challenging this time of year, however, with rain. That washes this off very quickly because it does not penetrate into the skin cells, but that's why we like it. It's not affecting the animals in a detrimental way and is effective at providing some short-term relief for them as well.
I need to go get the wound spray.
If you don't mind, that'd be great. We've also tried fly predators, which basically is a predator that attacks a fly at the larva stage. You sprinkle it around the manure piles and it's supposed to spread, and then once you have it inoculated the field, continue to help attack them at the larva. But we didn't notice much of a difference, plus it is a continual expense because you have to get them every month. So we did not pursue that with our particular method of control for flies here, and have found that what we're doing is quite effective as is. Flies as a whole are impossible to completely eradicate, so a lot of it is about management, and that's where rotating them on the property as well, giving them room in the woods as well just to rub off the flies, especially since we have traps located around wherever they're moved to, certainly has helped to provide a more enjoyable experience for them while they're here on the homestead. Well, thank you for joining us. Make sure to subscribe, as we'll have a lot of fun videos as we progress with the summer ahead, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.